Okay, let's do verse 8 to verse 13. We are continuing with part 2 of Joshua 13. Okay? Part 2. East of the Jordan. East of the Jordan. It's getting good. A general outline moves from south to north. Our on the edge of the Wadi Anan. Verse 9 forms the boundary with Moab on the south, Mount Hermon and the former kingdom of Og and Bashan Mark of the north on verse 11 to 12. There are two exceptions. Geshir and Makath remain as an alien enclosure. And verse 13. And the tribe of Levi received no allotment. In verse 13, and verse 14, and in verse 33. Okay? Now, that was a quick breakdown for you. Hopefully, you was taking some notes and follow along. These flashbacks describe the extent of the Transjordanian conquest and tribal allotment made by Moses, clearly related to Joshua 13, verse 1 to 5, and also in Deuteronomy 3, verse 8, and also verse 10. And also you could read more of that in Deuteronomy 2. Please. The introduction video that I did, please watch it. It's very helpful. Okay? Now, this begins abruptly, and archaeological evidence and biblical texts combine to indicate that the success of Yahweh's movement in Transjordanian was real but short-lived. In verse 9, the town in the middle of the valley of it really mean the of the Wadi perhaps refers to the general habitable area between two main courses of Anan, which flows together on the west and also meet twice in the east. Verse 13. The first of the series of explanation settlement faulting various tribes for failure to achieve total conquest. Look at Joshua 15 verse 63, Joshua 15 verse 63, Joshua 16 verse 10, Joshua 17 verse 10 to verse 12 to 13, and Judges 1 verse 19, Judges 1 verse 21, verse 27 or down to verse 27 down to verse 35 is contrary to the summary claim found elsewhere. Now, I want to take the time to read a little bit for you. 15 verse 63. But the people of Judah could not drive out the Jebusite, the inhabitant of Jerusalem. So the Jebusites live with the people of Judah in Jerusalem to this day. Now, 16 verse 10. They did not, however, drive out the Canaanite who lived in Gezer. So the Canaanite had lived with Ephraim to this day, but have been made to do forced labor. Now, let me do 17, verse 12 to 13. Yet the Manasseh, could not take possession of those towns, but the Canaanite continued to live in that land. But when the Israelites grew strong, but they put the Canaanite to forced labor, but did not utterly drive them out. Okay, now let's do one more reading. You should get the hint by now. And Judges 1, Judges 1 verse 19. I'm going way too far. I'm in Judges. The Lord was with Judah, and he took possession of the hill country, but could not drive out the inhabitant of the plain, because they had chariots of iron. Okay. Now, verse 21. But the Benjamites did not drive out the Jebusites who live in Jerusalem. So the Jebusites have lived in Jerusalem among the Benjamites to this day. And also 27 to verse 35. The Manasseh did not drive out the inhabitant of Beth Shean and its villages, or Tanash and his villages, or the inhabitant of Dor and his villages, or the inhabitant of Iblim and his villages, or the inhabitant of Medigdo and his villages. But the Canaanites continued to live in that land. When Israel grew strong, they put the Canaanites to forced labor, but did not, in fact, drive them out. And Ephraim did not drive out the Canaanites who live in Gezer, but the Canaanites live among them in Gezer. Zebulun did not drive out the inhabitant of Kitron, or the inhabitants of Nahalal, but the Canaanites live among them and become subject to forced labor. Asher did not drive out the inhabitant of Akko, or the inhabitant of Sidon, or of Ashlab, or of Akzib, or of Helba, or of Afhik, or of Rehob. But the Asherites live among the Canaanites and the inhabitant of the land, for they did not drive them out. 33. Naphtali did not drive out the inhabitant of Beth Shemesh, or the inhabitant of Beth Anoth, or the okay. Let me do 33. Naphtali did not drive out the inhabitant of Beth Shemesh, or the inhabitant of Beth Anath, but live among the Canaanites, the inhabitant of the land. Nevertheless, the inhabitant of Beth Shemer, and of Beth Anash become subject to forced labor for them. The Amorite pressed the Danites back into the hill country. They did not allow them to come down to the plain. The Amorites continued to live in Har- Har- Hooray and Ajalon and in Shaben, but the hand of the house of Joseph rested heavily on them, and they become subject to forced labor. Okay, now, okay, now let's continue to verse 14. Reference to Levi here in verse 33. Frame the description of allotment in Transjordan. The tribe of Levi formed the one exception to all tribes sharing equally in the apportionment of the land. As carried, as carrier of the Mosaic teaching, the Levites were dispersed the residential and grazing right and designated towns throughout the land allotted to other tribes in verse 21. Okay? Now, let me do a rough overview for you from 15 to 23 so you could understand a whole lot better. Reuben's territory is described by a line of extent drawn north from Aurora in verse 16 and a list of towns from verse 17 to verse 20. Reuben, Gad, and half tribe of Manasseh are discussed on verse 15 to verse 31. The geographical arrangement here: Reuben in the south, Gad in the north, is as odd with the storyline in Numbers 32 verse 34 to verse 38 and verse 15. The Reubenites received the larger southern segment of Sinhog Rams. And verse 16. The Wadi Anan, the southern limit of, of early Israel claim. 21. The tableland or plateau must refer to an administrative unit that indicate major western approaches from the Jordan Valley. Leaders of Midian, another coalition, evidence that an earlier Amati created in the day of Moses and Jethro had collapsed. And look at Judges 7 through 8. Look at the chapter 7 through 8. Now, verse 22. Baal, son of Boer, B-R, B-E-O-R, according to Numbers 22 to 24. There were texts, there were messages referring to Balaam, which was found in 1967 in Tel Deir, that's T-L-D-E-I-R, Tel Deir, Allah, in Transjordan. Okay? Uh, in verse 24, we'll do a rough review of 24 to 28. God line to the north of Reuben. Two boundary lines run northward from Heshbon and from Mahanaim in verse 26. There is a short list of 4 towns in the first part of verse 27. Okay? To the Gadites in verse 24. Okay? Is allotted the southern half of Gilead, overlapping the northern stretch of Sihor turf, while reducing the reach of Amorites' sovereignty by half. Now, a review of 29 to 31. The clans of Manasseh, east of the Jordan, occupied territory north and east of God. Okay? North and east of God. In verse 30, talk about Bashan. The Galam Heights lies north of the Yarmuk River, which is Jair, Y-A-R-M-U-K River, Jair, J-I-I-R. When you look at Deuteronomy 32, verse 41, it talks about that. And Numbers 32, verse 41. Deuteronomy 3, verse 14. Deuteronomy 3, verse 14. Let's talk about Bashan and the Yak River. Okay, good. Now, our last verse, verse 31. Okay? The half of Gilead is territory north of the Jabbok. We talk about the Jabbok before, that's J-A-B-B-O-K. We talk about that before. Okay? Hopefully you took time to watch it and learn from it. And hopefully you come back again to know when we're going to do Joshua 14. Hopefully it's very soon. May the glory of God be with you. May the peace of God be with you. Amen. With you and your family and all those around you. And may you share this video, like this video, and subscribe to our page. This is the second part of Joshua. Second part of Joshua from Joshua 13 verse 8 down to 33. That was the review for that. Okay? May the glory of God be with you. Peace. Shalom.